There we go.
Yes, everybody wins.
There we go. How are you?
I'm good, man. It's cold as hell where I am. We're snowed under here in
Uh,
New York.
yeah, I was going to ask. I thought you were in New York City, so yeah, I've been seeing a lot of the weather challenges in the news. I know you guys got it tough right now.
I mean, the news blows it out of proportion, right? It's like storm watch 2020. It's like a little bit of snow and really cold weather, but I like it. I'm from Texas, so love the winters.
On there. How long have you been on the East Coast?
Man, going on 4.5 years now.
Okay.
And it's like I almost want to subtract the last 9 months. I'm sure everybody does, but uh, I mean the East Coast is just phenomenal, man. I've lived in California and from Texas, and I can't say enough good things about the East Coast.
Yeah, I know the East Coast is great. It's New York City is definitely one of the best places in the whole world.
Where are you, man?
I'm based on the West Coast. I'm actually in the Bay Area in California.
Lucky you.
Yeah, yeah, it's 56 degrees right now, and we're complaining about how cold it is. Nothing like you guys. We're
what, what
we're
what
spoiled.
what part of the Bay Area are you in?
If you're familiar with the East Bay, it's about maybe 30 minutes south of San Francisco.
Yeah, my buddies in Walnut Creek, a bunch of college roommates from San Rafael, Marin. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, all we need is you here now, man. It's a reunion.
I don't know why they've never really opened up the film incentives in NorCal. I've never gotten that.
Well, what I always knew growing up, so in the East Bay, there's a really big city called Fremont. It's probably the third biggest city in the state. And from what I gathered, back in the 20s, it was kind of like a mini Hollywood. I think some of the movies that like Chaplin filmed, and there's still some remnants of it when you drive up in the hills. But from what I gathered, it used to be kind of a mini Hollywood, and I guess someone didn't agree to something, and they said, "Hey, let's go down south."
Yeah, yeah, politics or who knows? Who knows? Yeah, yeah.
Awesome, awesome. Well, tremendous honor to have you on, Grayson. You don't need a big intro, but for the folks that aren't familiar with your work, we got Grayson Berry, with 20 years plus, experience in the business, and you wear a lot of hats: director, actor, writer, producer. And forgive me if I'm missing something there, but tremendous honor to have you on Movie Junk today.
Oh, it's my honor, man. Thank you so much. And you make me feel old, man.
I feel bad whenever to me, I think I'm, giving congratulations to the experience, but then when I put a date to it, sometimes I get that. So I feel bad. I might have to change that in the next script.
No, man, it's all about the journey and not about the destination, right? We know that. So yeah, man. My wife and I are sort of on the fence now about we may move to New Mexico. Believe it or not, in June. Netflix is based there, and Amazon Prime is based there, and now NBC Universal. And I work a ton in New Mexico, and I love it. I love it. I hope I can stay here just because I really, I haven't quite gotten to do what I set out to do here, which is also some Broadway. But yeah, so we'll see what happens, man.
So you mentioned New Mexico, and then you might know where I'm going to go with this. So you actually did a guest appearance on Better Call Saul, which is part of the Breaking Bad universe, and one of my favorite shows. And it's Better Call Saul definitely has a wide audience, and it's got tremendous ratings and has won a ton of awards. But for a lot of fans that still that I talk to in the Breaking Bad world, they're just like, yeah, I haven't seen it. I was like, man, you guys are missing out because it's just as good as Breaking Bad, and in some areas, you could argue that it's better. It just depends on kind of what your preference is. But since you mentioned New Mexico, I got to ask, what was it like? Because you were part of the HHM team.
Right. In the flashback with Bob Odenkirk. Well, wait. First, I want to hear this because they're two of my favorite shows as well. What about Better Call Saul is better to you? I agree, they're right there together. But what separates in your mind?
Well, for me, it's just amazing how, because with Breaking Bad initially, with the first season, what I remember, it was only like 6 episodes, maybe 7 episodes. There was a writer's strike when Breaking Bad first came out. So the creators didn't even really know what they had at that point. It wasn't until season 2 was where it was given a full season, and then there was more characters that were added. So there's a lot more characters in Breaking Bad, and with Better Call Saul, it's literally a handful. And it's just amazing how you take and Bob Odenkirk's a tremendous actor, but it's just amazing how they were able to take it. That's a lot of pressure. I mean, Breaking Bad is one of the highest rated, TV shows of all time. And it's like someone trying to, rewrite The Sopranos. It's like you're going to have, a lot of folks trying to debate that. And like for me, I was like, anything involving this world, I'm on board, whatever it is.
And it's so similar, isn't it? Like the style, stylistically, color-wise, the tone, it's all so similar. It's funny, man. I've just literally picked it back up in season 3, and yeah, it's bringing back all those memories. So, first of all, we talk about my almost 20 years. Bob Odenkirk is a guy who I really admire because he's paid his dues, man. I mean, he was a writer for sketch comedy. I think he worked for SNL for a little while, I think, and then of course there's the David Cross. But on set, man, he couldn't have been nicer. He even at one point, we're in the shot together, and he stopped the camera and looked over at me and said, "Hey, man, scoot a little more this way. You're going to get better coverage this way." Nobody does that. No, nobody ever does that. So it was very clear, and you find this, Zia, too. The more you do it, the people really are kind of who they are. Bob is kind of playing a version of himself. Yeah. He is that nice. He's got a good heart. Saul's really got a good heart. I know he's checkered past or whatever, but couldn't have been a nicer guy, man. And it was a blast. I mean, I grew up watching Mike McKean, man. I mean, I'm dating myself, but Laverne and Shirley, and of course, Spinal Tap, maybe my, one of my all-time favorite spoofs. So, getting to work with him and Bob was a dream. Yeah.
I loved him in Short Circuit 2, Coneheads. I mean, yeah, he's just amazing, and you can argue that he may have been the best, just performance overall on the show. He was tremendous. I mean, everybody's great, and it's just one of those series where it's just a slow burn. Like you're waiting for it to happen, and it's just like a consistent slow burn. And every season they just keep giving you more and more. I think this upcoming season is the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character, Better Call Saul?
Mike.
Me too. Easily.
Yeah. It's just like he looks. I mean, so with Better Call Saul, it's the prequel to Breaking Bad, and obviously, the actor himself is aged, but he's just putting in so much more in Better Call Saul than he did. I mean, he was also in Breaking Bad, but like that scene where they were. I don't want to spoil it for you if you haven't been caught up, but there's a scene where they're in the desert. And man, it's just phenomenal seeing those two together. You're realizing how Michael came to be.
Yeah, I mean, again, there's another example of a guy. I remember Mike in Beverly Hills Cop, man.
Oh yeah,
as the heavy who gets the cake put in his face by Eddie Murphy. You know what I mean? So guys like that who just clawed, and finally got that big, show. I love to see that, man. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, he was great in Beverly Hills. He was kind of always been that guy that he was in Beverly Hills Cop and Armed and Dangerous, and I think he was in 48 Hours in the beginning too. And
I wasn't for it. You're right.
In the beginning, I think he got killed right in the beginning.
Well, what he's doing as an actor on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad, man, it's not easy. He's got that quiet power, and people think it's he's doing nothing. I mean, he is in a sense, but it's so tough to play that the subtlety. He's amazing. I can't say enough good things. Yeah.
So is there any coincidence while you're going back to New Mexico? Maybe they're bringing you back for the last season, or?
Oh, I wish, man. I mean, just so much stuff is shooting there, Zia. I shot Dreamland recently, fairly recently out there with Margot Robbie and the Marksman with Liam Neeson. also. And you know what it is, man. Nothing against LA, but there's something about when movies get out regionally. There's a novelty and an excitement and an enthusiasm that's there again. And in LA, I found that it was more like, whatever, been there, done that. You know what I mean? So there's something about shooting in regional markets that's just, it's sort of that spark is back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you mentioned the Marksman. I was just watching the trailer last week, and then midway in the trailer, I'm like, there he is. He snuck up on us on there with Liam Neeson. Is it you're playing like a border patrol cop or a customs agent?
Yeah, it's funny, man. So my scene is with Juan Pablo Raba, who is Pablo Escobar's right-hand man in Narcos. He played Gustavo Gaviria.
Yeah, yeah.
Dude is a chameleon, because I didn't even recognize, like before I came on your show today, I was like, let me make sure I remember that guy's name, because he was fantastic. And I was like, holy shit, that's that guy. He was great. And I did not work with Liam on the day, but I can tell you that everybody within earshot, man, you got 50 to 100 people who are all chattering about Liam Neeson being 50 yards away. So he has that tractor beam star power for sure.
I don't know if you've seen Rambo: Last Blood, the last Rambo movie with Stallone.
I have not.
Yeah, this movie just kind of gave me the feeling that Rambo did, that last Rambo did. And I know the first cut of the movie, got some mixed reviews, and then they just recently did a director's cut version, which I just watched. It's actually on Amazon Prime, and it's I don't want to say night and day better, but it's just a cleaner cut of the movie.
Yeah.
So I actually like that a lot. And when I was watching this trailer, I was like, yeah, this kind of feels like that. And it's one of those guys that you don't, like Liam, you don't want to wake up. They're just doing their thing, but then when you wake them up, this animal comes out. And
yeah. Do you remember a movie called Krull? Zia, have you ever heard of a movie called Krull?
Is that with Liam Neeson?
It is. It's maybe his first movie, and it was an attempt to crossbreed Star Wars and Lord of the Rings. It's like 1984. Dude, you'll get a kick out of it if you haven't seen it. And he plays one of the marauding raider bad guys, and he's freaking great.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see it. Yeah, he's amazing, and he just does not seem to be slowing. He tells people, I don't want to play these action roles anymore. They just keep bringing him in, and people love to watch him beat people up. And it seems like that's what he's going to do, just based on the trailer. I mean, he seems like he's got a set of skills, and he's not afraid of the cartel.
I was waiting for that. I've got a very special set of skills.
Yeah. And you've done a ton of shows too, and forgive me, I mean, I'm just going to pick the ones that I'm just spoiled that I love. And you were also on Ray Donovan as well too.
One of my favorite days on set, man. Hanging out with Jon Voight.
Yeah.
And he couldn't have been a cooler cat. He was amazing. And so was I forget the name of Ray's wife, but I love Deadwood.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as she came around the corner in the makeup room, she was like, "Hey," and I was like, "I love Deadwood." Total fanboy. And she's like, she's like, the ones who know. They really like the. So yeah, man, Deadwood was. I'm from Texas, so it's the Western thing. But man, Ray Donovan was awesome. I did not work with the man himself, but So I'll tell you a funny story. I'm sure no one's gonna hear about this. So I can. I mean, there was a girl on set, Zia, it was her first day ever doing anything, and she had to have a sex scene with Jon. And she was so nervous that she put herself in her trailer and was doing drugs, all kind of stuff. So throughout the day, Jon would sort of see me and be like, "Hey, Grayson," to try and get away from her. I was like, why is Jon Voight oh, and I put it together and I was like, okay, all right.
Yeah, normally that's something that an actor would want to, just at least see what's going on type of thing. But John's like, I've already done this, and that I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah, man, he's yeah. I mean, what a down to earth, great. Again, I mentioned Bob Odenkirk saying, make sure you get your coverage. Voight was walking up to the director and saying, check this guy out, and I was like, it was a tiny part, man. And so I was like, it's obvious who the good guys are.
Yeah. And sorry, Grayson, I kind of jumped ahead, but just kind of going back to being in the industry for 20 plus years. You mentioned that you do have a passion for theater, and that's part of the reason why you moved to New York. But what were some of those early aspirations? Were there any movies or actors or something that kind of got you interested to get into the business?
Yeah, man. I was I was a sports anchor in Santa Barbara, and I was sitting in my apartment, and there may or may not have been a substance involved, but I was watching Apocalypse Now,
Nice.
and I just decided to go through like the top 100 AFI films. And I think I watched like Lawrence Arabia, Apocalypse Now, and Dr. Zhivago, and Bridge over River Kwai in like consecutive nights or something. And that was it. I was 6 months away from my contract being up at Fox, and I said, I got to do this. I got to do this while I still have hair on my head. And so, man, at that time, LA was it. You want to do film and TV, you gotta LA. Nobody, had told me any differently, so I sort of did that. But no regrets, man. Yeah, I lied to get my first play. I did Picasso at the La Pena Gil and played Picasso and dyed my hair brown and had a terrible, terrible Spanish accent. Said I'd done Shakespeare. I'd never done Shakespeare. My dad came to see it, and at the intermission, my dad was really loud and kind of could be obnoxious. And he was like, "Hey, great. Do these people know that you've never done anything?" And I was like, "No, no." So, but that was it, man. After that, like that applause and that feeling of being on stage, that was it. And I totally didn't understand the pecking order, right? Because it seemed to me that and still does, I guess, that theater should be paid the most, and commercial should sort of be at the bottom there in terms of pay rate, and it's not like that.
Yeah. Well, I know with Broadway, I mean, there's some, from what I've heard at least, there's really good rates that actors get. That's like the mecca of theater. But yeah, no, I know a lot of actors, that have done major motion pictures, and we talked about Lee Schreiber from Ray Donovan. I think after Ray Donovan, he went back and did some theater. And I've heard like Al Pacino goes back routinely and does theater as well. So it's like, they no matter how busy they get, they always want to go back, and it just seems like it's a passion to continue the theater works.
Yeah, it's the source, it's the magic, man. It's funny because you can't shoot theater. I don't know if you've ever tried to watch a play that's been shot. It can't be done. It just it's like it's invading some sort of sacred space or something. But yeah, theater is it's the best, man. The best.
And I'm pretty sure you knew I was going to sneak this in. So you're slated to pop in on Cobra Kai season 3.
Yeah.
So you keep sneaking in on all my favorite shows, man. I don't know. It's just I'm kind of living vicariously through you. So
Oh man, I'm happy to let you do it. It was they're my favorite shows too, man. I mean, it's so nice, isn't it, to have like a warm-hearted sort of nostalgic, fun show, right? Like Stranger Things kind of did it, right? And now Cobra Kai sort of has that. Like, man, I remember waiting in line, and this, I'm dating myself again, but 4 hours in line with my mom as a kid to go see the Karate Kid.
wow.
And got out of there with tears in my eyes, man, however old I was, and just like, if Daniel can do it. So Cobra Kai. I worked with Peyton List, who plays Tori, and John and Martin Kove, who plays John Kreese. Those are my two scenes, and they couldn't have been cooler, man. They train you. They have great choreography, as you've seen, right?
Yeah.
My wife's always walking by when I watch the show, and she's like, "Are the kids fighting again?" She's like, "These kids are always fighting," but it's so well choreographed. So yeah, you do the choreography, then you go to set, and you try it on. And my episode was directed by Hayden Schlossenberg, and I can't say too much about, what's going to happen and all that, but I can tell you that I play a bad guy. And, as I get older, man, and move forward, that's sort of what is gravitating toward me, or I'm gravitating towards, I don't know what, but bad guys. And I love playing bad guys, so it works out.
So it sounds like you were already a fan of the show before you joined.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot of the cast that I've interviewed from Cobra Kai. Rick Perez, Susan Gallagher. So she was actually on since season 1, but Rick Perez is slated to join in season 3. His character's name is Roger. And again, haven't really gotten too many details, but yeah, he was a fan of the show before he joined, and he said it's like a dream come true where you're watching a show and then you end up being cast.
It is, man. I even told Hayden and the lead writer was there together, and I said, yeah. I mean, I was in a fight scene with Kreese, and I think midway through some of our stunts, it just kind of hit me, and I looked up at him and I was like, man, I'm so happy to be here having a fight scene with you. This is fantastic. Yeah. That was seriously, man, one of my favorite all-time days on set, no doubt. He was, Martin Kove, man, that dude. I mean, we're going way back. He's been in everything, and so just a legend. Iconic bad guy.
Yeah, so. I mean, if you can go back to the kid version of yourself back in '84, and you'd said, "Hey, one day,
yeah,
I'm doing a scene with Kreese." It's one of those aha moments.
No, man, it's I appreciate you saying that, because it's you're always looking to what's next in this silly business, man. Always looking to, oh, what haven't I done? And then when you say something like that, you're absolutely right, man. If I could have, there's no way I could have predicted that. So yeah, amazing.
So since you're on the Cobra Kai show, I gotta ask: are you team Cobra Kai or team Miyagi-Do?
No mercy, baby. Team Cobra Kai all the way. No Miyagi-Do in this house, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you're familiar with Matt Borlinghi. He's the pawn shop guy in season 1, season 2. He's supposed to be in season 3 as well. He's the guy that Johnny goes and gets the laptop, and he calls him.
Yeah.
And he's like, "This ain't the Geek Squad, man." He's got those funny lines. So I asked him. I said, "Hey, are you team Cobra Kai or team Miyagi-Do?" And to be honest, I think I've only gotten team Cobra Kai, except for Matt, where he said, "I'm Miyagi Kai." Hashtag that.
Sweep the leg, dude. Sweep the leg.
Yeah. So as far as the Karate Kid universe, so Karate Kid 1, 2, 3, and also the next Karate Kid, do you have a personal favorite? As far as which one you enjoy?
I mean, I don't think ain't nothing like the real thing. You know what I mean? And the first one will always be, because I'm a red-blooded American kid, and Ali was my dream. I mean, Ali was every kid's dream, wasn't she?
All of our dreams. She still is. I'm hoping that she's going to relive our dream this season.
Right. Yeah. Right. She's on the Facebook, as Johnny would say. Yeah. And she's amazing. Yeah. I've seen pictures of her. I think there's a good possibility that she's back. But and I mean, Pat Morita, man. I mean, God, you got to kick yourself a little bit and wonder what sort of dynamic he would bring to this new show if he was still around.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you saw, there was a 1 minute clip released by Netflix between Kimiko and Daniel. They're having like an exchange where they're both drinking tea, and Daniel is just asking, saying, I really wish I had Mr. Miyagi here right now. He'd be able to guide me. And then Kimiko goes, well, I think I can make that happen. So we'll see what's in store, and if there's going to be a spirit form of him, or maybe that's the broker to us meeting Chosen. Maybe he can open up the gates to Miyagi-Do.
He drives that car, by the way, Zia, the yellow car. As I was leaving set, he was pulling up in the yellow Miyagi car.
Oh man, that's wild. Just saying, man, I'm living vicariously through you right now, man. I'm enjoying this. So that's
right on, man. Well, that's what it's all about, man. I forget that it's sometimes that it's supposed to be fun, you know, because when you talk about the life of an actor, and I try to explain this to up and coming actors, it's like you're probably only acting 6, 7% of the time, you know, of the whole of your life, right? The rest of it is marketing and auditions and blah blah blah. But yeah, those are the fun times, man, that make it all totally worth it, you know, or the getting to work on Cobra Kai, or you know, even getting to work with Margot Robbie on Dreamland was also, you know, one of those. She happened to be incredibly cool, you know, and it's such a nice thing when you see that, and they're collaborative and cool. It makes it even better.
Is when's Dreamland slated to get? Is it already out, or is it?
It's out. It's streaming. It's streaming now. It did some theaters, and I think it's still in some theaters. I mean, if you can get out, you know, if the COVID hasn't prevented people from doing it, but it's YouTube, Amazon for sure. Uh, you know, I'm sure it will do Netflix. If it's not on Netflix now, it will be. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, I love Margot Robbie's awesome. I mean, Wolf of Wall Street. You know, she's just done a ton of stuff. Are you able to, just for the fans that aren't familiar, can you just give some more context to that film?
sure. I mean, if I had to log line it, I would say it's basically Bonnie and Clyde with Bonnie as the major star, right? Sort of, Clyde is sort of becomes this kid who's sort of a small town kid played by Finn Cole, who's on Animal Kingdom and Peaky Blinders. And, you know, she's on the run, robbing all these banks, making all these heists. And I play a 1930s Matador, Texas State Patrol who I won't tell you exactly what I do, but I have a couple of scenes where I try and prevent them from moving forward in their crime, so to speak. And yeah, he was great. She was great. You know, I love that era. I love timepieces, man. And I got to drive, you know, one of those 1930s, you know, cop cars. There was a chase sequence, and that was a blast.
Yeah, it just seems like that period, you know, the Roaring Twenties, the 30s, even going into the 40s, but the 20s to the 40s, there's so much history there, which, you know, the mob and the bootlegging, and just there's just different decades, and there's just, you know, there's so much story there between organized crime and, you know, all this stuff. It's just some of the best TV shows and movies are when they do these timepieces. It's just amazing. I've seen ads for the movies. So definitely want to. It's on my bucket list to watch during the holidays. But you also mentioned, you know, Finn Cole was in Peaky Blinders. Are you a fan of Peaky Blinders as well, or?
You know, man, what I've seen of it, I like. I just haven't. I watched a couple episodes, and I really like Cillian Murphy.
Yeah.
And you know, love the production value, but it was, you know, just one of those shows. You know, you only have so much time.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, me personally, I jumped on a Peaky Blinders right around season 3, and I kept hearing how good it was, and I for some reason can never get past the second to third episode. But once I got through the first season, then I was hooked. And it's just 6 episodes each season. I mean, they're an hour and 5 minutes each episode, and I mean, you just coast through 6 episodes really quick. And if you haven't, it's one of those shows where it's like, if you haven't got a chance to go through it, definitely watch it. It's awesome. It's one of those timepieces, period pieces as well.
It looks a little bit like the British version of Boardwalk Empire. Is that a fairly?
I put it kind of like, imagine the two worlds of Boardwalk Empire and Sopranos meeting during that time.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a pretty epic show. I mean, Sopranos is my all-time favorite. So I can't put Peaky Blinders quite there, but Boardwalk Empire, Sopranos, love those shows. But yeah, it's the British version, and it's done right. I mean, there's some really good characters, and I don't want to spoil it for you, but it's these brothers, and man, they're inseparable. They fight with each other.
Tom Hardy is on Peaky Blinders too, isn't he?
Yeah, he plays Alfie. He plays Alfie.
Maybe my favorite actor right now. Maybe.
It might be my it's in the top 3 of his portrayals. He's really good. He's really good in Peaky Blinders.
So you'll appreciate this. A buddy of mine is a writer and was looking for inspiration and wanted to go to the Bada Bing, and I'm technically in West New York, New Jersey. So I'm right on the Hudson River. I can see the Twin Towers from, blocks away. So we went to the Bada Bing, and which is not called the Bada Bing anymore. It's called like Satin Dolls. I don't even know. But I was like, I'm with you, man. I was very late to the Sopranos party. I watched it. I binged it. Oh, I don't know, 7 years ago. And it's like watching the greatest painting you've ever seen unfold before your very eyes, right? It's I don't yeah. Breaking Bad and Sopranos, man, it's right there.
Yeah, we got it was destiny for us to meet. I mean, those are the two favorite shows, and yeah, I've done a lot of been fortunate to do some interviews with the Sopranos cast. I think we've had close to, I think, six folks from Sopranos join the show, and for me, it's tough, being such a big fan and just kind of holding in all the fan questions and keeping professional, but love the show. And they're making the prequel movie, The Many Saints of Newark.
No.
Yeah, so it takes place in the late, I think it's 67, 68, it's the 60s, where you go back and you see a young Tony during his adolescent years, and you got Tony's dad, and it's really centered around Dickie Moltisanti, who's Christopher's dad.
Uh-huh.
So if you remember, he was kind of a mentor for Tony growing up, and that's why Tony kind of put it upon himself to keep a close eye on Chris. That's why he always called him, kind of like that father figure. That's what Chris had with Tony. So
Six Degrees of Separation. I did a couple episodes of Tommy, the Edie Falco cop show. She's the first female police LAPD chief, and it was all I could do as a fan, not to be like, they didn't give you enough to do. Like, she was freaking amazing, but they never quite gave her, you know what I mean? I mean, no sweat. She went on and did Nurse Jackie and some other stuff, but yeah.
She's awesome. I mean, those exchanges that she, I think it was, the scene that her and Tony, when she's confronting him about him cheating, and then where she tells him also where she's been fantasizing about Furio, and that exchange that they had with each other. Just some of the best acting that I've seen on that show, or just the exchanges between them two. She's amazing. She was just as iconic as James was on that show.
Yeah, man. Well, I'll give you another show if you've never seen it, because I'm from Texas. It's Friday Night Lights.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you've seen it. Okay.
The show and the movie, yeah.
Okay. I mean, I think the chemistry, that nucleus of that couple, the Coach Taylor and Connie Britton, and then Edie Falco, and that's in the pantheon, I would say, of just the just amazing couples, on TV, the chemistry.
Awesome.
Amazing.
And Grayson, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you're on the East Coast, and I'm probably keeping you from a late dinner or maybe a couple cocktails. I know we talked about some of your upcoming projects. Was there anything else that the fans should stay tuned? I know we talked about the Marksman. Is there anything else that you're working on next year?
I just did an episode of New Amsterdam a couple weeks ago. So I'll be playing a director on the episode 3 of the 3rd season, which is coming out. And I guess the biggest thing I'm doing now as a filmmaker is I'm wrapping up my first horror anthology as a director and creator. And it's called 9 Lives. And you can go to 9livesfilm.com and check all that out. Nine is in the number 9, INE film.com. And it's like Creepshow meets Black Mirror.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. So, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, I really did, man. Thank you for having me, dude.
No, thank you. And we'll definitely share the link to your upcoming project. And we're going to have to sync after season 3 gets aired, and discuss your role and see if you did some beating or if they did the beating on you. And so awesome. No, thank you again for joining. Tremendous honor. And, thank you for making the time. And we definitely got to do this again sometime.
Let's do it again, man. The honor's all mine. Talk to you soon, brother.
Thank you. Take care.
No mercy.